Hello there. So, last time we played through an entire arcade shmup and did absolutely nothing, yet still technically got the clear. How can we possibly move on from that? Well, there are actually harder games. In fact, there is a few lists, but we'll focus on this one here. That's in Japanese, excuse me. There we go. And this ranks arcade shmups by difficulty. We've done one from level 0, so let's go up to level 1. There's only one, Night Raid, and it gives us a clue. Stay in the corner. But, like always, let's have an intro. This here is a very poorly scaled FMV from a shmup which came out in arcades in 2001 and console in 2002. I'm playing this on the PlayStation today instead of the arcade version because the original was developed for one of those systems that was actually based on PlayStation hardware. Namco started this off with their System 11 followed by System 12, which had Tekken, Soul Edge, Xevious 3D and even the first Fighting Layer. Capcom had their ZN1 and ZN2 systems with Street Fighter EX, Rival Schools and for some reason Tetris the Grandmaster. Tecmo had a Cool Borders arcade game, a port of their Model 2 game Dead or Alive, and here is a bit of Gallop Racer. And Taito? They had GNet, which of course had G-Darius, and there was also Raystorm, and here is Psychic Force, and then of course Night Raid. Because they were based on PlayStation hardware, it meant that they could easily be ported onto the PlayStation. This wasn't always the case though, and for some games compromises had to be made so it wouldn't be one-to-one. But with Night Raid, this conversion was pretty well done, and that's why I'm sticking with the PlayStation version today. But let's talk a little bit about Takumi. Like Milestone, it was a company that came to being because another went bust, this time Toaplan, and they started off making a game from a Toaplan IP, Twin Cobra 2. It had helicopters, but apart from that, did its own thing. It was an okay game, but what would come next would be much better. Gigawing 1 and 2 came out in quick succession, the first on the Capcom CPS2 system, yes that is double tautology, then the next game came out a year later for Naomi. Both of which would see Dreamcast ports later on, and these games brought in a reflection system, so you could shoot the bullets back at the offender. In between those two though came Mars Matrix on the CPS2, one of the best CPS2 games that you cannot buy today. Even Dungeons & Dragons and the Marvel games are available now, but not this. And that joins along with Dimahu and Mighty Pang. No, Slam Masters 2 was better. Okay, back on target. Mars Matrix had this evolved a little bit, so instead of a reflection, it created its own gravitational field for bullets. All of that just to say that Takumi liked gimmicks. Now back we go to Night Raid. No, not that one. I don't want anime strikes, thank you very much. Alright, we're starting the game. There are 3 buttons, which is an improvement on Mars Matrix, which only had 1. One is for shooting, of course, another is for a bomb, then the last is for a special attack, where you can become a bouncy ball. That's gimmick number 1, and that'll be used very often against the bosses. Gimmick number 2, you can see from the bar on the left hand side. It can be either positive or negative. If I let point items fall away, this bar will fall into negative eventually, and this is part of score calculation, so it's very possible to get a score in many millions of negative points. There are power-ups of course, these orange polygonal things. There's also the bar on the bottom left, which dictates when I can use my bouncy ball. Much like what you would expect from a shmup, there's sometimes going to be a mini-boss and then a boss on our route. Here comes the first of them. My bouncy ball is ready. Now it needs to recharge. So far nothing special happening, some ads, just a little bit more and we are done. We get a time bonus. So I'm also being a speedrunner right now, but I'm very tired and fed up, so I'm going to hide in this corner. There is no collision mechanic, so none of these enemies can ram into me, which is good because there is a small little issue with this game. A very teensy tiny issue. When I stay in this corner, the majority of enemies won't shoot at me. This is a game which is level 1 out of 50 in difficulty, but only when using this trick. If it's not used, it's level 23, which is like Gradius 4, Raystorm, and Mushihime-sama Futari Maniac. Those games are hard. This isn't. But there are exceptions to this rule, and one of those are bosses, which will shoot at you no matter what. And here comes the first of them. It can get a little bit hectic, but the first is mostly okay with my bouncy ball bar. I'm not going to use it though until I have no other choice, And we're done. And I have a positive score now. Yippee! To the next stage. We're starting this stage in the most horrific way imaginable. They shot at me. It wasn't a very good shot, but it was a shot nonetheless. Therefore, it's critical to get to the corner as quickly as possible to eliminate the need to dodge anything. Now, I know this seems like the height of entertainment, but unfortunately I can't speak that long. So as I go along this journey of figuring out my editing software, we're going to now play around with the ability to fast forward. Yes, this is in fact so dull that I actually had to shoot at something. I'm sorry to have disappointed you. Oh my, this is long. Hooray, the life bar has come up, which means it's boss time. Shame there wasn't a mini-boss in this stage, but we have survived so far. It's the same tactic as last time. I will wait for as long as possible before unleashing the power of my bouncy ball. Typical pattern, weave left and right, but stay in the center-ish. There should always be a little gap, but we're not. Bouncy ball, and there we go. Next stage, we're in a cave. A cold, dark, lonely cave. For me anyway. Usually I would say where is the best place we can go when we find ourselves in this situation, but unfortunately I need to play the game a little bit. Don't worry, it won't last long, I promise. I just need some resources, and here it is, the green D&D dice, which has given me an extra bomb. Now I need to wait for a nice moment to get back up. Unfortunately the corner doesn't protect me from bullets already shot. Okay, that's safe now. More fast forward. They come, they dance a bit, and then they go off on their daily business, and I stay here for a bit, watch on, and wonder if I'm catching a cold. Now I need to go back a bit because these crystal things aren't playing by the rules. It's fine though, if I sweep the bottom of the screen from left to right, then it should create a gap in the pattern. Lots of power-ups, which I don't need, as if the game expects me to die here. Right, back up we go, and more fast forward until the boss. Finally, here is the life bar, and it is a thing that is covered by ice and floating rocks. I need to keep my nerve here. It is fast, but it is a bit simple, and I have bouncy ball. I can weave through the gap between the splurts, staying mostly central, and we're done. Next stage. I think that it's time that we relocate ourselves to our favourite place. Sorry all, that was barely pun worthy, but hey, this game is consistent with its stage themes. I've got to admit, as easy as this is allegedly supposed to be on paper, this stage is where most of my runs go to die. As you can see, the bullet patterns are starting to become a bit hectic, and that won't let up towards the end. And this is like interval training. Easy, 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 easy. Sprint at 100 miles an hour. Easy, 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 easy. And it's this mini-boss here that is the first real test of this game. The shots aren't fast, but it becomes an art to find the right moment to cross over and begin moving to the other side. Especially after having done nothing for so long, it's hard for the brain to concentrate again. If I die here, I lose all those bombs, which is horrendous for the end. Okay, it's a bit quicker now, but we've nearly timed this boss out. Yes, I had to use a bomb. I now feel infinite shame, but that is why it was important to pick one up earlier. And now that that's done, it looks like we're back to our pedestrian pace again. A little bit more fast forwarding. Now, during this time, enemies will shoot at me, but thankfully for me, they are absolutely terrible at it. So the fast forward continues. Another mini-boss, so let's get the speed back to normal. It's spinning around frantically and not doing much else, because this is the only mini-boss where the corner trick applies. So there is no risk here in just timing it out. With all of these ads, I could imagine it could be a little bit interesting, but off he goes. Bye now. The cogs are becoming a bit bigger now. It's almost as if something is coming up. The enemies are still appearing, no, so not that close. Oh wait, they're disappearing. And we have animation. And here comes the boss. It's like the rear gear of my bicycle. What can this Shimano do? Oh my god, that's fast. Bouncy ball. Okay, I've had to use a bomb and another bomb, and we're done. Back in speedrun mode we go, as we go to the final stage. Now, this is just like the beginning of stage 3. I unfortunately had to use all of my bombs, so I need to do a little bit of gameplay in order to get another. If I die, I will get another set of bombs, but I don't want to throw one away so easily. So here it is, in the bag. Now I need to get back to my corner. There we go. This is a weird game. It's easy, but it's also hard, and that sounds stupid to say. The game had to be rushed out for one reason or another, so I'm not entirely sure if the corner trick is just a bug, or if it's something the developer used to test out later stages and simply did not remove it at the end. Either way, it makes a hard game easy, but not easy enough that it renders it uninteresting. You still need to learn who will shoot and when, and also how to effectively take care of bosses. And here comes an effect which I absolutely adore. My old CPU definitely didn't like encoding it though, and it's a shame that this only came out in Japan, probably because next gen was starting when it came out. Sure, there wouldn't be much life for this game, but it would be a good one to rent out for the weekend. There is spectacle here, and there would be plenty of bullets to dodge if you didn't figure out the corner trick. But that's enough looking back, let's fast forward until the first of the end bosses. And here it comes. Pro tip, time it out. There are a few phases to this boss based on the HP remaining, and the later ones are a bit silly. So the easiest thing to do if you want to clear this game, no matter what method you're using, is to stick with this phase, because this phase here is completely manageable. The animation on this cube is a bit erratic, sometimes it will shump forwards, but the pattern remains largely the same, which means I can feel confident in continuing this horseshoe movement for a little less than 30 seconds left. I said a while back that I need to pay attention to my resources, and I need to keep all available for as long as possible for the final boss, even if that means I'm absolutely cheesing this one. And for high scorers, there's nothing of value to add here beyond the time bonus, so if you do want a high score, either positive or negative, you just go for it and tackle all the phases. I, however, will chicken out if you don't mind. And off it goes, and hello darkness, my old friend. Here we are, another life bar, 2 phases to this boss, and because I have as many resources as I need, I'm going to spam my way through it. So that's all the bouncy balls and all the bombs. How am I still alive? Doesn't matter, phase 2. I would say that luckily the bullets are a bit slower, but now I'm dead. But that's okay because I have bombs again, and my bouncy ball, and another bomb, and that's the game. That was Night Raid. The third easiest arcade shoot 'em up according to some random Wikipedia page in Japanese. What could come next? What will level 2 hold? Will we see a steady level of difficulty, or will the spikes be like my heart rate during these bosses? Who knows? But until then, please enjoy the end cutscene. If anyone knows the story, please write a comment. I have no idea what I just did. Until the next time, thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed. Bye now.